right, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Aravaipa Rides podcast. My guest today is Shawn Stenmark, the founder and president of Hawesaholics. Shawn, welcome.
Thanks. I wouldn't call myself a president, just kind of a rider that likes to try to give a little guidance and direction for the group.
Fair enough. Founder is good though, right? We can
founder.
We can apply that title to you.
Yeah, I'm the founder. Right. Some even call me the Haws father. That's what
I like it. We'll have business cards made up.
I've been called worse things, so I do allow it.
Perfect. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into Hawesaholics themselves? Where are you from? Are you from here originally, or?
No, I'm from Southern California, but I moved to the Mesa area in 2005, and have just loved it. Like, never want to leave. Won't go back to California. Big fan of it. I got big into mountain biking. I rode mountain bikes when I was younger. I was a BMX kid. And then I got big into dirt bikes for a while, and I was racing that for a while. And then one day a friend's like, hey, we got these trails just like right by our houses. And I rode one day and I was like, oh my gosh, I'd lived here for 4 or 5 years and didn't know about this. And then ever since then I was hooked. And ride 3-4 times a day, or not a day, but a week. And it's been great. Good community, a lot of fun, stay healthy, all that good stuff.
Awesome. And so, and I see the sign behind you. Tell us a little bit about what your full-time job is when you're not riding.
Oh yeah, I got my virtual background on right now. I'm a sales manager for a company called Cisco. So I manage a team of 12 people across the Midwest that sell WebEx web conferencing, phone systems, contact center stuff, and video conferencing devices. And so that's been a lot of fun too. I get to help people communicate and collaborate and stay connected. So I feel pretty blessed for what I do, for sure.
Very cool. And we're not using any of your equipment or platforms right now, are we? Now I feel like we should have made some other arrangements ahead of time. Hold on, tell me some stuff.
Yeah, right. I know. It's okay.
All right. Well, tell us about Hawesaholics, this group that you founded.
Sure. So I guess I'll start from the beginning. I got big into mountain bikes, and I've always been someone who likes to be around people. So I love group rides. I typically don't ride. I try not to ride alone. So if no one else wants to ride, I often just don't ride. So I came from a big family. So I guess I just like being around people. So kind of what happened was I started one little kind of like grassroots racing organization called Beer Duro. And Beer Duro was an enduro format that incorporated drinking some beer. So we do 3 to 5 test sections that are timed, that more downhill oriented. And then we had a section for a beer chug, and we take your beer chug times 10. And we'd add that into the score. And then we'd add in mulligans for, like, if you told a joke, you got a 30-second time benefit, or if you longest drive. And that kind of started to grow and was a lot of fun. And we had events throughout the state here and there, and they're all hosted by different people. And so I really got a feel for that community and kind of started to charter that a little bit. Then I started hanging out with some of the folks in Estrella, and they had this super cool community where every week there's someone that would host a ride, and then they'd hang out afterwards at their house and drink some beers or whatnot. And these folks just, they'd build trails together. They'd ride. They had this community, and I really wanted that here in the Mesa area or the East Valley. And then so I wanted that. I'm like, how do I get that here? And then I thought of the name Hawesaholics. I'm like, that's a cool sounding name, like East Valley Riders or East Valley Shredders or something like that, which is, I guess those are fine. But I thought Hawesaholics sounds kind of cool because we're all kind of addicted to Haws. And we do drink a little beer, so I guess it kind of ties over. But so I created that. I created the Facebook page and then invited everybody, a bunch of people I know, and I knew a lot of people anyways. And then we quickly had a few hundred people on it, and we're doing, from the get-go, it was about using this, social media platform to do things face-to-face and ride your bike, and share information. But it's always kind of been my goal about the whole thing is like, this is to get you out riding your bike and meeting people and connecting with people, and just making this community awesome, and inclusive and, just positive. So that's kind of how it started.
Excellent. And when was this? When did you start?
Oh, geez. Let me see. I think it's been around for like maybe 5 years.
Okay.
I'll dig that up on Facebook as you ask me another question.
So did the Facebook group started at the same time? It wasn't something that was a group ahead of time and then became a social media page as well?
Yeah, no, it just all started like, I had a loose group of people that were just my friends in the area.
Yeah.
I started like, I used to be on MTBR a fair amount, which was online message boarding.
Okay.
And it's still around, and I still know some people from there. So I had people from there, and then I just had local people, and then I had my, group of like 10, 15 friends of mine that all rode.
Yep.
And I had the Beer Duro folks, and all of a sudden it just kind of, got its own thing. Well, let's see. It's not telling me exactly where. I got the about section, but I can't see exactly when I created this thing. Let's say it's probably about 5 or 6 years old now. That's my guess. Wow. Yeah.
You've got quite a following for 5 or 6 years. It's an immensely popular group. I know that for sure. Just seeing it when my own feed pops up as I scroll through.
Yeah, we have 3,700 members now.
Amazing.
There's certain people that are more active and certain people that aren't, but
right.
But it's been fun, and growth has never been our goal in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, if there's, like I always say, like, you never know who that next really cool person is going to be. That's going to help pull people together in a different way.
Yeah.
Or that person who really needs an outlet, needs to be able to connect, because we have a survey for whenever you join, and we've changed a little over the years, but, question one is how can you add value to this group? And then there's other ones, but that's always an interesting one, because I like that it kind of it's like, hey, you can come join this, but we kind of we'd like something from you too,
Right. Sure.
So it's, and over time, there's people that just kind of show up and just kind of jump in and get us. And then they lead rides, and they, or they'll just get in and just help do things, like we have Ashley Bear, she is our service director. So anything community service, she kind of takes the lead on that.
Okay.
We just did a toy drive that just wrapped up yesterday with a pedal pub crawl and things like that. But then there's folks like the Lambs, Robin Lamb and Jason Lamb. They've been pivotal as well. They're both moderators, and they help kind of, when I run things by, like, hey, what do you think we should do in this situation, or whatever it is. People are getting wound up about some post, and so I've got Robin, Jason, Tiana Rosardi, Zach Iser, and is there anyone else? I think that's about it. There might be probably someone else in there, but forgive me if I forgot right now. But so there's definitely a good group of people that have kind of stepped up and make this thing so much easier to deal with and help us grow. And like one thing that's super cool is the whole H-Bro group, the Hawesaholic Babes Ride On group.
Yeah. So
when I started the site, it started to grow. I was always trying to recruit some ladies to, like, hey, run a weekly group ride. I'm like, I'll let you give away shirts, like whatever, make it inclusive. And then and Tiana Rosardi, I knew her beforehand. And then when I saw her pop up on the side, I was like, oh man, she's got all kinds of energy. She pulls people together. She's
Yep.
just like she's like she's a battery. There's certain people that are batteries. When you're around them, they just energize people.
Yep.
And I knew that. And I was like, hey, Tiana, here's a stack of stickers and, a shirt or two. Let's, run some rides. And then they just took off and started doing it. Robin got involved. She might have been even more involved there at the beginning. And all of a sudden they just outgrew their text message and they want to do their own site. And then it's like that thing has just been taken off and just creating all kinds of stoke. And they've, they're cooler than like the main Hawesaholics site is at the time, I'm like,
they definitely are.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, we need people to help do this. It's like most of the time now, it's like the girls are like, oh, I'll help. I'll do this. Yep. And, so it's been pretty cool.
I was fortunate enough to meet Robin and Tiana earlier this year for the first time, and they're wonderful people, excellent people. So definitely agree. And I haven't seen their recruiting efforts firsthand, but just seeing the size of their group now that it's got its own official offshoot, it's just again, I mean, you can attest that just for what you said. I mean, they got people together, and they're definitely making a fun environment for everyone who joined. That's for sure.
Right, definitely.
Yep. You have another group too. That's a kind of a offshoot. Is it? Or do you not?
There's Hawesgrown, and that is something that is to try to cater more towards families. Okay. And I don't think we ever really had a plan to ever branch off to these little kind of like sister groups or like splinter groups. But when we saw how popular things went with the girls, it's like, why not try this?
Okay.
If it can create a little bit more space that's more tailored to those folks, great. And pretty much everybody who's on any of the other ones is on Hawesaholics as well. And so there's certain, but it just gives them their own place. And it's probably started mainly for rides, because you'll get so lost in the page where it's really hard to find out, oh, where's the rides at? Where's that at? And getting everybody to understand, like, oh yeah, go to the events tab and you'll see all the rides. It's almost like Facebook makes it where any kind of calendar or events, they try to almost hide it. It seems like it's kind of weird, but they're all on it. And, we just started Hawesgrown maybe a few months ago. Okay. We're starting some regular events. Jason Lamb's kind of been, Jason and Robin's involved too, because they got 4 kids, and, they're proven just to be able to handle these things and, make a great environment for people and be super positive and pull things off. So, but we try to balance the site where it's good for everybody. It can be a challenge because certain people want to be a little bit more rogue or inappropriate or immature. And we still allow probably more of that when the group is younger, but we want to keep it like, hey, be respectful to people. And that's probably one of the biggest things. And then if things are just inappropriate or they cross lines, we'll tell people, and very rarely do we ever have to delete posts. I think for our group size 3,700, I think we've maybe banned maybe 3-4 people.
Okay.
So there's not a whole lot of that goes on. I think everybody kind of gets our culture, although it's hard to keep everybody happy.
Of course.
Like everybody wants it their own special way. You're like, well, we got 3,700 people, so we kind of have to try to make it all work for everybody. And I think we've been doing a pretty decent job with that.
Yeah, the culture that I've seen, since I became a member is definitely that of positivity. You rarely see, and that's probably a testament to you and the moderators, because you rarely see any of the negative stuff. Whatever does get put up, you've been able to change it around, take it down, whatever your policy states that you'll do, pretty quickly before everyone sees it, right?
Right.
Definitely. But yeah, I mean, 3,700 is going to get harder and harder as the numbers grow. You do have to maintain that line of like, this is whether you call it yourself as family oriented or at least just, positive minded, right? And keeping things going the right direction.
We're not totally family. We are family oriented, but we're also like, you can have a good time and you can harass people a little bit and enjoy, but it can't go be above the line. It can't cross the lines of like just straight up trolling people or things like that. So it's like we wish we can give people as much rope as they could take, but it's a balancing act.
Sure. Sure. You've got some other positive stuff going on too. You've got it's very service oriented, are you not?
We try to be. So maybe a couple years ago, I was thinking, well, we got this big group. What else could we do? You know, like that's cool. We all ride together, but people like to do other things like help out, do service, whatnot. So
Sure.
Haws Trail Alliance started kind of up around that same time frame. So we have a lot of people that do trail work and are involved in that. The majority of everybody in Haws Trail Alliance is on the site. So that's been good, and we're getting a lot done on the trails here. It's been a blast. There's so many new trails and more to come. Yep. And we're fixing up some stuff that has got a little worn down, and breathing some new life into it. So that's been a phenomenal group. We have done some things at like Feed My Starving Children and Midwest Food Bank and a couple other things as well, where maybe we get like 10 to 20 people that show up and do some service work for a few hours. And then there's been other things that like Ashley's done from the second toy drive. There's our second toy drive. We've done big cleanup efforts. That's probably one of our biggest service events. I think we had like 70 people show up, and we cleaned up. We broke into like 8 groups of people. It was quite the army, and we filled up one of those big, huge dumpsters, and there was a lot of scary stories about stuff that was found.
I can imagine.
Because in that area was some homeless kind of areas, and there's some. Anyways, we won't go there, but right. I know I did find like meth paraphernalia. So and there was worse, but so it's kind of cool. I think it's good for the group, and it also kind of ties to like more of a pay it forward attitude that we have. Like we've always encouraged people to give away bikes, and give away extra parts, and like how can you help someone else on here? Right. So seeing that's really cool. Like or what was this? There was this one random act that was kind of cool. This guy, it's kind of funny actually. He reached out and he's like, "Hey, I need someone to give me a ride back from U of A. I'm doing a clinical study on psilocybin, so he's doing mushrooms, and he needed a ride home for like 5 weeks or something like that." He's like, "Yeah, they won't let me drive myself home." I was like, "Well, go figure." Yeah. Right. And someone's like, "I got you, man. I got you." So someone agreed to go ahead and live in Tucson that was going to take care of them. So we've got enough members even in Tucson and other areas where I was like, that's kind of cool. And then whenever people do give away stuff or bikes or gear or whatever, we always try to get them nominated for the Hawesaholics Award, which is an award that we created, I think probably about 2.5 years ago. Okay. And it's purely it's about doing good for the community or others, or just, something that it showed perseverance or grit. And, it's people are nominated by others, and then there are people vote for with likes. We do it once a quarter. Okay. And I think it helps reinforce that attitude of helping each other out. And it gave something tangible and something that people get excited about and think is cool, and then you get to celebrate and really acknowledge, like, man, look what they did. Look, there could be like 20, 30 people of like, look what they did. That's awesome. They're helping make this a better place. And I had fun because it was an old corporate award that was broken that I kept because it was like some sales contest thing for like way back in the day, and the team I was on broke it when we were in Mexico for like some reward trip. So I held on to it. And then I fixed it up, put painted up bike parts and put bike parts in it, and a little bottle opener, and ordered one, a little medallion plate that like writes out a bunch of stuff. And it's been fun, and we it's been fun. It's kind of like in those folks that earn that. It's cool. And those are usually folks that are involved helping other people and, make a difference in the area.
Yeah, and it makes sense to give them some light, like give their work, light a day, because a lot of times most of us, if we're into that stuff, aren't necessarily publicizing it. We're not going out there, and I mean, there's probably some that are, but most people who are doing it and do it for fairly regularly are just doing it because that's who they are, and to have a team that they belong to, then recognize them because they're their buddy snuck behind their back and posted it as, hey, I want to nominate Gary for this. He's been doing this, and it's all of a sudden Gary's like, well, wait a second. Oh, I didn't want to,
Yeah.
Sorry, Gary. I'm just using Gary as an example.
Yeah. No, we definitely get some of that. But it's cool, I mean, I'm super proud of that. It's like one of the, so glad that we created that, and it helps reinforce everything.
Yeah. That is awesome. Nice. I hear you have an ambassador program as well.
Yeah, kind of. Well, yes. So everybody wants to ride bikes together and meet people to ride with, but it's hard for people to kind of put themselves out there and do that a lot of the time. Okay. So we kicked off an ambassador program with a couple of different levels. One is that every month now we do a new member or first time rider group ride person's event. Anyone can come though, like anyone. Doesn't matter, but it's about them. It's catered towards them to make them feel welcome and feel like, hey, you found your place, and ideally from this ride you meet up someone else and now you're more apt to go to a different group ride, etc. So we just did our third one this last Saturday, and we have group rides up for pretty much all abilities. And I think we're averaging about 30 or so folks are showing up to those monthly rides. So that's pretty good numbers. And it's been fun. And we give away some stuff. Like, I think we gave away a Hawesaholic hat last time, or I gave a bunch of koozies last time. And then we tried to kick off something for ride ambassadors for different areas. Like, we have about maybe 15, 20 people that signed up that said, hey, if you ever want to ride this area at around this kind of pace or whatever, A level, B level, C level, or whatever, hit me up and I'll show you around. We'll figure out a time. And I was hoping that would really kind of take off. It didn't. I don't even know. I don't even know if there's been like one person that's taken up anybody on that. So it's kind of like it was, I wanted it to work, and it's still cool, but and it's out there, so we'll see how that develops. But
work in progress.
Yeah, but we do have people that throw regular rides, like let's see, Patrick White, he runs Taco Tuesdays, which is at South Mountain. That's been going on for, I think, probably almost 2 years now. And that's a fun ride. They get between, 15, 20 people to all of those, maybe even more. And that'll be a little bit more rowdy, going up Mormon National and those trails.
Yep.
But super cool vibe and group, and they hang out, maybe sneak a beer or two before the Rangers see them or something afterwards, because there's no drinking in that park.
Right.
So there's that. Justin Tunstall, he does the Wednesday or Wild Wednesdays, which is, he's called the beginner intermediate ride or intermediate ride. He's had some, really good, done some good stuff with that. I know there's more. One thing that we do too, this is kind of branching off the ambassador. Well, Gina Dwyer, she does a bunch. A lot of those are HPR rides. The HPR rides do a lot more group rides than the dudes do. And I'm like, Gina, we'll open up more to like some of the dudes too. But whatever. Another thing that we do as well, which is called East Valley Fun Track, or EVFT.
Okay.
And have you ever done short track Papago at Papago or STP?
Nope.
Have you heard of it?
No, this is first actually.
Okay, so it's grassroots racing. It's free, and we kind of mirrored it off of short track Papago, because I would go to that every once in a while. You show up, there's like 15 to 40 people, and then you show up at a place, this bit of time, and then you go sprint for 30 minutes, and then you're done. And they somehow track who won or what the finishing order was. And they would also they'd also have what they call the Baron, where somewhere on course you'd have to stop and chug a beer, or eat 5 saltines without water, or do burpees or jumpy jacks or whatever.
Yep.
So, and I was always trying to do, for a while when I first started this, I would do group rides on the regular and no drop rides. And it was cool and all, but it was hard because it was always such a mild paced ride where I was bored. You know, I was doing these once a week, and then I'd even get other people that would show, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, it's too mellow." You know, like, I'm not totally stoked with it, and a lot of people were like, it was so hard to find that, you know, find how it would work, and we try to break it up. But anyways, I'm like, heck, you know what? Let's do here. We'll call it East Valley Fun Track, and we'll do it here. So how it works is it's always someone else who hosts it. All right. So I barely organize it. Every once in a while, like in the summer, I'll try to motivate, like, hey, someone go do this. Hey, who could take this week? We got no one who's there. And what's really neat about it is you can run any format that you want. So we have downhills that'll start at the top of the hill and go, you know, down to the river or whatever. Yep. We have cross country loops that will be like a, you know, 4 or 8 mile loop or whatever. Well, we've done crits on like short course stuff. We've done them at the Chandler BMX. Okay. We've done them at the bike park. So it's pretty much, and there's always different rules, you know, so you can throw like, you know, you got to do a Le Mans start, or we call it the Stucco start, where you spin around 4 times and then get on your bike. So it's like just kind of almost falling over. And we do have a beer element in it typically.
Okay.
So maybe there's a beer hidden somewhere, or you got to bring a beer and you got to finish it up by a certain time. Or if there's other beverages there, what we typically try to have is other beverages, or we'll say just have a burpee. You know, we try to make it very clear that yes, we do this stuff, but you don't have to in any way, shape, or form. You know, like we want everybody to come and have a good time and enjoy the environment. And
sure,
I think part of the beer thing also it kind of like makes it less competitive. Like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and hustle, but at the end of the day, this doesn't really matter. It's free. Someone jankily kind of like somehow laid out the course, and you got to drink a beer during it, you know, so it's not, you know, but the cool thing that kind of came from that is not only for those of us that like to kind of chase the clock, it also gave us a format where we can, where folks with all abilities can come together and go on a course for a set amount of time. And then when we finish, we all hang out and drink a few beers and BS for probably more time, typically a lot more time than we actually rode our bikes. And it's hard to do that with group rides, you know? So that was kind of the cool thing. It's like, yep, we have something here that anybody could do. People still feel a little bit, I think, intimidated at times because you're like, oh, it's a race, you know? And I try to play that down.
Yeah.
And we also do you can even do themes. So we've had the redneck race where we actually shot BB guns mid-race, where we had to stop and hit a can before you get on your bike. Okay. We had Pierre was moving back to Paris, so we had the French theme. So if people like dressed French, whatever that is, you know, black, white shirts with a beret or whatever.
Right.
We've had 80s, we've had superhero, just all kinds of just silly stuff, you know.
Sure.
But, yeah. So that's a little bit about our group rides and stuff we do, and we're always encouraging people. Hey, you want to, looking for a group ride? Great, go ahead and set one up. You know, tell people what you want to do. You know, you're going to ride these trails. It's going to be about this long. It's going to be about this pace. So we're always looking for the next people that will help kind of drive that participation.
Yeah. Well, I've certainly seen that, and even I think just individuals who are going out to ride themselves will throw it up there on Facebook saying, hey, I ride, this kind of speed. I'm planning to do these loops. If anyone wants to join me on Wednesday, you know, and usually it seems to be something that's I'll call it an odd time, since most of us might be working. So it might be like Wednesday at 1 o'clock. There, you know, someone has a day off, or someone, you know, took the day off, but is looking for anyone else who's available Wednesday at 1 o'clock to go for a ride. So definitely cool. Definitely cool.
Yeah.
Makes my job a little harder, as I'm trying to get community rides off the ground over here at Aravaipa. And I'm gonna have I've got some competition. I might have to throw some beers out there to get people to come to ours.
So yeah, like, and if you guys want to do community rides, like, you are welcome to post those on Hawesaholics. So we're not in any way feel like we're competing with any other organization or group. We're just a platform that is here to help people come together and be awesome in the community. And you know, so like Valley Epic Rides, they post the rides. Spartan Rides, they post our rides. There's what is it? Pedal Therapy, or no, Ride Therapy. The Ride Therapy group, I think it's called. Forgive me if I messed up the name. They post a lot of their rides with us. Yeah, we don't just, hey, give everybody more options to get on your bike with other people. We're all about that. So please post your stuff up.
Yeah, that's exactly the thought that I had, was just that, like, more opportunity to ride, get people together. I guess I've got a little bit of a difference where, you know, I'm not tied to Haws for any specific. So I could do a ride at Haws 1 week, and then I could go to South Mountain or go to the west side and do Estrella or something like that a different week.
Yeah.
Model them after the running community rides, which they do. Theirs are pretty set in stone with like a count, so to speak, with a calendar. But Mondays are at XYZ spot, Tuesdays or Wednesdays are at this spot, Saturday one's here, that kind of thing. And they bounce around. So definitely looking forward to getting those off the ground and hosting a couple over at Haws too, because obviously that's a fantastic set of trails. And before we move on, I've got to give a little shout out to Justin, because I joined a couple of his rides earlier this year. And they were great. They were perfect for, as they called it, you know, the beginner mediate, who's still fresher. And I'm coming off of many years of not riding, and starting back up again after within the last 2-3 here again. So I'm feeling almost like a beginner. But I'm confident enough to go over stuff that most beginners may miss. So I kind of fall into that beginner mediate, and his rides were perfect. So shout out to him. Great job up there.
Yeah, no, he's been an awesome add to the group. He actually showed up maybe 2 years ago for a pub pedal that we did, and then he bought a bike that day to do the pub pedal, and then ever since then he just took off, lost like 40-50 pounds, and started leading rides, and is just like a solid dude. You know, it's like right on. It's like, so glad he showed up. You know,
right.
Tons of people like that are in the group.
Yeah. That was back when you could go out and buy a bike on the same day. Like, now you have to place an order 6 months ahead of time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's challenging to get anything. I know I'm trying to find new bike shoes right now, and it's not easy.
Right.
It's not easy. So I'm like, I think I'm going to buy some expensive CDs, because I think, like, who else can pay that much for shoes? So I guess I'll go there.
Right. There you go. Awesome. Well, you guys have an event coming up next month, Haws Fest.
We do. So Haws Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about Haws Fest. Don't know how. Well, I think we just thought, let's pull everybody together for a group, something at the park. It'll be fun.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Here's how it started, actually. So I've been involved in a motorcycle club called Rock Stars MC here in the East Valley. And I started this, we did this ride, me and another guy, for the club. We called it the Big Club Ride. And we kind of went on a group ride with everybody in the club. And then we had like games along the way and at the end. So like there's the hill climb competition. There was the enduro time section. We played a game called Foot Down, where you kind of get in a big circle and ride your bike. And then people try to stop you. So you put your foot down, you stop. All right. And then we did like the slow race and, you know, other stuff. Yeah. And I was like, man, that was like one of the funnest days I had on a bike. And I love putting on events, especially when they're just like super unique and they're fun. And they're just like, wow, that was blast.
Yep.
So I'm like, yeah, I want to do that for this Haws group. We call it Haws Fest. And basically we all, invited everybody and, show up at the park, and we go up for group rides in the morning. And then we do a bunch of bike games. And then there's also, we've added since then. Before it was just games. We maybe had like 20 something people that showed up, maybe 20 to 50 people showed up, 40 people showed up the first one. And then we figured out that maybe having the kids do the jump off was a bad idea, as a couple of kids almost went to the hospital. They didn't, but we're like, whoa, we're not doing that again. That was the big learn from the first Haws Fest. But last one we did was about 2 years ago, right before COVID. And I think we had about 250 people show up to that one. Everything has been completely crowdsourced, so everything is free. So we have people like Scott Bonomo, who runs our kitchen. Excellent dude. He's one of those guys that, awesome award winner, just freaking amazing person. He is I think he's bringing like 120 pounds of pork shoulder or pork butt that is smoked. Wow. And then we have tons of people, like I think last year, Tim Yerkes and some of those folks brought like, 100 hot dogs and 50 hamburgers and then everybody else just like bring something, and if you can, that's fine. Bring some cash, and we throw some money towards, if we need to get some pizzas or whatnot, we'll order some pizzas. And then we're also going to have some Haws Trail Alliance will be there as one of our main beneficiaries. And then we're going to do another one with either a youth mental health organization, or we're going to do something potentially with Cand-Aid and do a bike build thing where we build like 80 bikes. Okay. For a local organization. I still need to figure that out. Luckily I got about a month. So there'll be, so it's like, hey, you know what? You don't have to throw in any money. This is a free event for, you and your family or whatever. But if you want to, hey, go ahead and help benefit these organizations or throw a little for the community in case we're running out of food, and yeah. We also sell, I've been selling shirts with the organization for a while, shirts and hats. And the majority of that, I want to try to make all the proceeds go towards the group. Okay. So it's not a for profit thing in any way, shape or form. But it helps with, all right, if I need some more funds for Haws or some other event, like, oh, we need $150 to help support this Toys for Todd or, thing. Cause we need, if we need the boxes and wrap it and this stuff, or, someone needs this, or I'll give away a couple of hats and or a shirt or whatever for, it just depends. We're going to run some little competition just for fun. Who's the best picture of, your bike or whatever. So yeah, anyways, kind of got a little sidetracked there, but that helps pay for other stuff too that we need. Awesome. Yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
Wait, hold on. Haws Fest. I got a couple more things to hit on this since we
go for it.
All right. Let's see. So it's January 15th from 8:45 to 4:30-ish. All right. Okay. Cost nothing, but you're encouraged to bring something, or donate to one of these organizations that are there. We are sponsored by New Belgium Brewing at Haws Fest. Nice. So yes, so please drink responsibly at Haws Fest. All right, keep it a family fun for everybody or a thing. But you're gonna have free beer there, free food. There'll be group rides in the morning. And I want to give a shout out to Gina Dwyer and Justin Tunstall, who are helping organize the group rides. We have clinics that'll be riding clinics from professional instructors. We got 3 on board right now. We have it's a pedal therapy. Scott Gibbons, he's doing it. We have Moto Morty training from Ryan Mortensen, and then we have Sedona. Was it SMDB or something like that? Forgive me the name on it. But they're coming from Sedona and they're going to do one as well. And I think they're doing like 1 adult and then 1 kid. So there'll be quite a few. from a game standpoint, we're going to have some serious games. So someone's talking about doing a dual slalom course somehow. That'll be timed, so you race at the same time. We always have an obstacle course. We have how many circles in a minute on your bike, which is kind of funny.
Yep.
And I don't like to do that myself, but I still do every year. We'll do a balance curb, like where you have to ride on a curve that's curved see how far you can go. We have barrel racing in the baseball diamond. So there's that. There will be spin bat bike, which is, you remember the whole thing with you put your head on a bat and then spin around 5 times. We do that and jump on your bike. So imagine the mayhem that creates. We run that as like 2 to 3 people at the same time in a heat race format. So that is a total way more fun to watch than participate in. Let's see what else. Yeah, we'll try to do bike soccer. We've done bike soccer at the end every year when like after awards, after everything, and that's kind of fun, but a little sketchy because everybody's riding their bike pretty fast trying to kick a soccer ball. So a lot of fun stuff, even more than that. The sand drag race, which is basically a heat format race in the volleyball court. So it's pretty much like set go, and then there's a drag race there. And I beat Rob Drew 1 year in that. So Rob Drew, if you hear this, I got you, man. I didn't win that year, but at least I beat him. So I had that going for me. There's that bunch of kids things. So, Los Angeles community is actually doing this with us this year. So they're going to supply a bounce house for the kids. They're going to supply a DJ for quality tunes throughout the event, and that we have access to everything in the park all day at no charge, which is nice as well. And they're promoting this at Los Angeles community, which is the HOA around there with maybe like 2,000 houses or something like that. Which debated a little bit, but thought it was a good idea because our group we're about pulling together the whole community, and they're in the community. So why should we not allow that? Plus it's saving us some money, and they're supporting us as well. Awards. We got the clinics real quick. We're also doing tech clinics by local bike shops on different things like, maintenance, changing tires, derailleur stuff, cush core, suspension setup, all that. So that'll go throughout the whole day. I think we have a first aid clinic from Independence Training, which will be they're like certified first aid clinic for first aid, trainers, where it's pretty robust. Like the ones they did 2 years ago, I was blown away. Luckily we had Stephen Cooper stacked somehow and split open his head or his lip or something like that. So we had like a live event happening right there. It was very appropriate. Tons of giveaways from Trail Monos, Action Ride, Tula Jones, Bike Masters, Free Ride Bike Shop, Junction, Dream Cycles, Spartan Rides. I think Tifosi's bringing some stuff, ESI Grips, Cali Protective, and more. So that's mainly it. January 15th from 8:45 to 4:30. Show up for the time that you think makes sense for you. Group rides for the first hour and like 2 hours, and then hang out.
Excellent. Tell us all where it's at.
Sorry. So that will be here near Haws at Boulder Park at Los Angeles. I think that's, if you just Google that, Boulder Park at Los Angeles, you'll find it. But I know it's kind of funny. Last year we did it. We just killed all the parking on the street. I was kind of sketched out like, is security going to come? Like we got way more than they probably expected. But then when I talked to her this year, she's like, yeah, we know what you've been doing. We know what you've been doing. We want to get involved. And I was like,
oh, there you go. Right.
Yeah. I'm like, sounds good. So anyways, there's that.
And for the people listening, do they need to sign up for any of the clinics or the races, or is it just sign up day of?
Yeah.
Or just show up and
show up and figure it out.
And get in line.
Show up and figure it out. It's hard. We do want to limit the clinic size, so I don't really know how we're going to do that yet. Because if you have 100 people trying to learn something with one trainer, it's hard.
Sure.
So we're going to work with the trainers on that. The clinic stuff, like some of the stuff like tech clinics and the first aid, like I think that's more manageable. But when you're actually moving around your bike and how to organize those big crowds, it's going to be hard, because when we had 250 2 years ago, it was some got too large, and it works. I don't know how big it's going to get this year. My spidey sense says about 500. But I think I've kind of even slowed down on promoting it. I'm just starting to promote it now, because I was like, I don't really want to make it really, really huge. But and I don't know what's going to pull from the community, but so it'll be interesting. You can register that you're going to attend just by going to Hawesaholics and just finding the event and just saying I'll be there. And that'll help us kind of judge how many people will show up. Las Sendas might put together an event or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
They talked about it, but it hasn't happened yet. So.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, coming up, we'll look forward to it. I think I've got definitely a maybe, possibly a going. I can't recall what I checked off myself. So.
Oh, come on. You'll have fun. You'll have fun there.
I certainly will, I'm sure. Awesome. Well, what have we missed? What haven't we talked about yet?
Let's see. I don't know. I think we covered most of the big parts. Awesome trails here.
Yep.
Great community of people that add to it. We've expanded beyond East Valley, where the people of South Mountain communicate on our group and throughout the valley, and we have people that are in Tucson that join because for the time they're here. Folks up north, where it's kind of even become more than just a local site, where it's kind of like, hopefully it's added value for a lot of people throughout the valley.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's one thing is what's next,
right.
What are we going to do next? And I don't know. I try to put that together every 6 months. Okay, what do we want to target towards? And we'll be doing something. So
yeah. So you guys have been pretty busy this year and last year as well. I mean, a number of new trails have popped up. I know everyone's talking about Sunset Ridge. That was a hot button conversation a couple of weeks ago when that opened, and everyone started riding it, and everyone's GoPro videos started showing up online too. And then just this weekend, right? Twisted Sister, or was it Big Sister?
Big Sister.
Big Sister.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Huge shout out to Kirby Wisdom. He's the lead tech at Tool Jones. He was kind of spearheading the vision, which is Sunset Ridge.
Yep.
And he really that guy, he hustled, and I love his vision and his passion for what he did there. And he's now the director of technical trails for Haas Trail Alliance. So I thought that was a great role for him.
Yeah.
So big shout out to him and all the guys that worked in the summer. There was probably about Jason Lamb, Doug Lang, Matato or Matt Shannon, Scott Bonomo, and quite a few others. Those are some of the ones that I know that were just consistently out there in the heat working on this dang thing. And it'd take you 45 minutes just to get to the place to work. Then you got to work, and then you got to get out of there. So big shout out. Big Sister is amazing. If you haven't done it yet, so what I describe that trail is probably the most miles per hour trail that we have in the entire system.
All right.
So miles per hour is a term that I use to say it's not about how fast I am, it's about how good of a time I'm having.
Sure.
That helps justify for a slower guy like me who's not as fast as I used to be or as fast as others. But anyways, it's about having a good time. And you just get on that trail. I was riding down, and this is before it was even open. It was when it was between work. And I'm going down and I hit something, and I'm like, whoa, that was rad. And this guy behind was like, oh yeah, it was. And I was like, I forgot how close he was. And it was right on. Big, good sized berms. There's some drops. There's some little kind of small kickers built throughout of it. Very floaty trail, and just a lot of fun. It was laid out wonderful by Shawn at Big Loops Trails. So he's the guy that's really worked heavily with us.
Nice.
Building a lot of our trails, not all of them, but he built like a lot, like Iron Goat, the Rerouted Alp. He did maybe like the bottom, like half or 2/3 of Red Mountain Rush, and then Maricopa Madness. So he's done some great work with us in conjunction. And then we got a bunch of hand-built trails that we've been doing as well, and more to come. More to come.
Mm-hmm. We got a lot of space there. Fantastic. Lot of land
if you like the trails, go to hawesaholics.com or .org. I don't remember. Haws Trail Alliance. Google it. You'll find it. And then it'll be easy to see where to donate. So feel to throw a little, $10, $20, $100, whatever there. I do know that they are in the process of setting like a membership program where you'll give something every year and get a shirt or different levels and things like that. So that's hopefully going to be all finalized by HawesFest, so people can sign up there.
Okay.
If you like what Haws Trail Alliance is doing, and you want even more trails, because we're exploring the ability and we're trying to figure out new lines about where we want to put even more trails for another master plan. So, and then there's staging areas that we're looking to add as well, but it's been a struggle to get that off the ground, because anything that we do is in Maricopa Department of Transportation wants us to put in turning lanes, and that's expensive. You're like, oh, we're going to start redoing roads. Like, we're like, whoa, we didn't want to get into roads. We want to get into trails,
Right.
Not like we got to like pave. Yeah. Anyways. So that's the holdup there, because we do know that there's not enough parking for Haws in general. But somehow people figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely if we had to name something on the negative column, it's the parking. Unless you have the what do you call it, the National Forest Pass that allows parking in some of their parking lots on Bush Highway and such like that. But those are pretty small and heavily contested by all the people using them. So
yeah, right. Yeah,
I know a lot of people use the park and ride there on the west side is definitely, and or usually park there and then ride across and get in that way. So definitely would be nice to have a little extra parking that's available, but
for sure.
I know it's not easy.
I think the goal, or what some would like to see, is eventually there's a staging area that is big, that can handle like events, other fun things. I don't know if that's going to happen phase one. Could be a phase, like we start a smaller one and grow it over time. Who knows? That's kind of the vision, is to have, with this big system that we're creating and will continue to create, is to have a way to handle a lot of people, people want it. And with all the new trails, it's been cool, because all these new riders and all this new stoke for the area, it's not that crowded.
Right.
Like, it's not that crowded. Like, oh, it's a little crowded, I'm just right over there, no one's there.
Right. Yeah, it is it's deceptively big.
Right.
Might look kind of small if you're looking at it on a map trying to figure out how to get out there. It's like, oh, this is just a few dozen acres or something, and then you get there and it's there's plenty to ride, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you can connect Haws to Usery, which will connect to Goldfields, and you can technically connect to Gold Canyon there as well, which there's some massive rides you can do, which are pretty much mainly dirt if you really want to connect it. So
right. Well, and the Maricopa Trail goes through there also, so you can always take that one way or the other, and then that will bring you wherever else you want to go, anywhere in the city, anywhere around the city.
Yeah,
get out there. You wouldn't feel like going out for a couple of days. You can just keep heading north and not find a gravel road or not find a paved road rather to ride. It'll be all trail, all dirt.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Anything else you want to talk about, or?
I don't know. I know. I just looked at the time. We're probably about hitting an hour. Probably might need to wrap it up unless there's another point that you wanted to tell us about Hawesaholics?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just yeah, thanks for the time to talk about the organization.
Absolutely.
You know, and everybody that's involved with it. I want to thank everybody who listens that's in Hawesaholics. Thanks for being cool and you know, and helping other people. And yeah, let's go ride our bikes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you guys do great work. So thanks for coming on. For everybody else who's listening, just as a quick wrap up, Hawesfest is January 15th next year, 2022, at Boulder Mountain Park in Mesa. And then the next Aravaipa Rides is Tonto Mountain. That's start-finish line is staged out of Usury, as we were just speaking of Usury. But there's quite a bit of the races that goes through the Haws system as well. So definitely check that out if you're looking to have a fun race in February. And then that's February 19th. So coming right up after Hawesfest.
Sweet.
Shawn, thanks for coming on today. Thanks for talking to me.
Aaron, it's a pleasure. Take it easy, okay? I hope to see you on the trail soon. Bye now.
For sure. See ya.